Body language matters way more than words. And if you're dating and you're single or divorced, doesn't matter, and you're meeting women, you need to pay attention to these things because most of body language and what people do is unconscious. They're not even aware of it. So today I'm going to be reviewing one of the most impactful books on body language that I've ever read. And the book is actually called Body Language, written by Julius Fast in 1970. And number four, I'm going to cover 7 points for takeaways from the book. Number four is the most important, and this is going to elevate your game, your dating game, like you would not believe. All right, if you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Kane. I'm the Silver Bachelor. This channel is 100% dedicated to dating advice for older guys. And if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button and a notification button because I'm dropping videos every week. Woo! All right, so if you haven't read this book by Julius Fast, Body Language, and as I mentioned, it was written in 1970. And just because it was written a long time ago doesn't mean it does not apply today. And what was most fascinating about this book is this is science-based, okay? And the science at the time, and I guess still exists today, I'm not really sure, but it's the science of kinesics. Kinesics, Kinesics. And that's drawing upon anthropology, psychology, and linguistics to decode nonverbal cues such as gestures, posture, and facial expressions. Okay. I know this is kind of a mouthful, but science based, and this information I'm going to share in this video is based on the discoveries and the things that happened during the research of this book. Okay, so I'm just going to get into this, and there's 7 points I want to cover. And the backstory of this quickly is that I was struggling with dating in my early 20s, right? And this can apply to you guys now, even if you're over 40. And my father, I didn't know he had this book, gave me this book. I read it, and it was like, it just completely opened my mind to women. And number four is the biggest takeaway. And I hope you stick around for that one because that was the most important thing that I observed. And to this day, I see it happening. Okay. And so when you're out dating, and it's one date, 2 dates, 3 dates, doesn't matter, or even in a workplace situation, body language will tell you so many things. And most of these things people do unconsciously. So let's get into this, right? So, point number one, the body tells the truth more than the mouth does. The unconscious body reacts faster than the conscious speech. And so, for example, on this, right? It took me, listen to this, I was married for 20 years and I've been dating for 4 years. It took me basically until the last 2 years, actually probably the last 1 year. So imagine 3 years in dating, because I was out of the dating market for 22 years. 3 years in dating for me to actually pick up on this and go, oh my God, this is real. So how do you know when a woman is genuinely burning desire into you? I mean, initially into you, right? In terms of the first few dates, okay? Well, I'm going to talk about something that I'm going to say this phrase. She gets drunk on dopamine. You might be thinking, Silver Bachelor, man, what are you talking about? Well, this is what happens if she is really, really into you and it's the first few dates. And it's a signal also that she wants to sleep with you. And that is literally she's getting drunk on dopamine. I've covered some videos on this topic, so I'm not going to get into the details, but I'm going to just cover it high level. Is if you're on a date with this girl and she starts forgetting what you're talking about, so you just asked her a question a few minutes ago, you get off topic, and then you come back to it and you say, hey, by the way, we finish off what you were saying about your brother-in-law. What was that again? And she like can't remember. That could be a sign that she's drunk on dopamine, because what happens is the body is reacting to her attraction to you, but her mind is trying to fight with what's the body's doing because the body is taking over. So the next thing she might do, not necessarily in this order, but she might just start laughing randomly at stuff that's not even that funny that you're talking about. So that's another example of how her brain is being rushed. His brain is rushing with dopamine, and she is getting drunk on dopamine. The other thing is she might be looking at you, but like hazy eyes. You're talking to her and she's not really listening. She's just kind of like looking at you, again, like as if she's drunk on dopamine. She might randomly also just stop talking to you. And you're like, oh, is she checking out? And it's because, again, she's trying to control what's happening to her body and she doesn't understand what's happening, but basically she's getting drunk on dopamine. So the body will tell you truth before the mouth does. So that's number one. Number two, and again, I'm looking at all my notes. So if you see me looking off to the side, then I've got my big jumbo screen here. Number two is posture will reflect confidence long before speech does. So if she's crossing her arms, she's taking up space, or you're not crossing your arms, you're taking up space. So this is one of the things you have to work on in terms of confidence is to take up space and be open, right? When you're having conversations with women, do not stand there with your arms crossed, right? Do not stand there with your hands in your pocket. You want to always show your hands. You always want to be open and you always want to take up space, okay? Number three is mirroring. When you mirror another person's movements, it creates an unconscious rapport. They've done many studies of this with chimpanzees and, of course, also with humans. And when I say mirroring, I'm talking about your tone. Are you speaking quietly like this? Or are you like loud and rambunctious to match their level, right? Is she touching you and you're touching her back? So I always wait for her to touch me first and then I will touch her back. Again, mirroring, right? In terms of eye contact, same thing. Is she kind of looking and looking away, or is she holding her gaze? And you do the same thing. So if you are mirroring each other when you're on dates, you will create this unconscious rapport. And number four, the one you've been waiting for, this one blew my damn mind, and I'm going to share it with you right now, is her legs crossed towards you. Maybe you already know this, or maybe you do not. So one of the telltale signs that you can see if she's into you, and that's why I always sit at a restaurant bar, at the bar. I prefer that versus a table and she's sitting across, is at the bar when we're sitting there, whether she's on my left or on my right, doesn't matter. If early on I notice that her leg is crossed and pointing towards me, there's an attraction. And you know, the crazy thing is this. Sometimes I go and sit at the bar on my own. I'm not with a date and I don't have a date joining me, but I sit beside a couple and the woman is sitting beside me, let's say, but she's with a dude. It's her husband, it's her boyfriend. And early on, this has happened many times, and I'm not patting myself on the back or anything. I'm just saying many times early on, she switches her leg and she points her leg now towards me versus the guy she's with. And that right away, and you might be thinking, oh, come on, man, it's so bachelor. Maybe she's just uncomfortable. No, she's not just uncomfortable, right? She had her leg there the whole time. And as soon as I walk in there, her leg is now pointing towards me. And she's subconsciously, what her body is telling her is that she's attracted. Okay. So just pay attention to this next time you're on dates and just don't react or anything like that. Just again, pay attention to it and see what happens. And it is pretty wild stuff. And when I know that she's into me, especially if we're sitting at a bar, her leg will naturally cross and point towards me. It is the wildest thing. And when you see it, you'll be like, holy shit, Silver Bachelor was right. Number 5, touch. I just mentioned touch about mirroring. Touch is one of the strongest forms of nonverbal communication, and I always let her touch me first. Space, that's number 6. Space and distance are powerful forms of communication. When I say space, kind of touched on this earlier, is you take up a lot of space. And 7 is just the last thing, kind of a recap, is that the body language is largely subconscious and automatic. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.